Hey everyone, it's Chris Loud. In this painting demo, I'll show you how I turn messy layers into depth for an abstract painting. With this easy technique exercise, we'll explore how playful experimentation with chaotic layers can lead to a painting that feels rich with depth and character. And in the first part of this demo, if it seems like I'm just winging it and making a mess, I am. That's kind of the idea of this first part. I had no direction, I'm just slinging paint and playing. If you haven't done that before, do yourself a favor and give it a try. It's so freeing to not care about the outcome and to just work loosely with paint. So at the end of the video, I'll show you a few close-ups and the final painting in different orientations. And if you have the time, I have two questions for you. Which do you feel is the best orientation for this? And do you see anything in this painting? I love reading what people saw that I didn't. So the foundation of this piece began with playful and messy layers. I wasn't focused on perfection. This stage was about experimenting with textures and tools and colors to see where they would take me. The acrylic paint colors I used were light blue permanent, lime green, burnt sienna, Naples yellow, Mars black, and titanium white, which I mixed and layered to explore interesting combinations of those colors. So you can see on the sketchbook right now, I'm using a color shaper and a palette knife, and I'm just kind of putting some colors down. And really, these were colors I was looking at for a future painting, and I just thought, well, I'll play with these on this first and just kind of see how they work out. So I used a brayer, a palette knife, a color shaper, and I also incorporated a couple of kind of unconventional tools to add texture and variety. A bowl scraper, which is similar to a color shaper but larger, and a crumpled plastic bag to blot the paint on and give it some different texture. I'll put the paints and tools that I used in the description in case you want to see those. So all these tools help me create unique marks and patterns and textures, which gave the background its kind of chaotic and almost muddy and unpredictable character. You'll notice as I apply paint that the layers start to build on one another, and you'll see me use a dryer several times before I move on to the next layer. Some areas did get a little muddy, and that's okay. It's part of playing and painting like this. Whenever you're painting and you don't want to create mud, dry the layers well before moving on, and clean or change out your brushes and tools in between. So to add more depth and contrast to the background, I used a black Posca marker and a fine tip applicator, and I'll also use some charcoal and Caran d'Ache water-soluble wax pastels or crayons. And these details create little moments of interest on the page. Even though this is just the background, it's already starting to feel like it has its own story. And I like to think of this as building the history and the character of the painting. It's multi-layered, it's spontaneous, it's expressive and textured, and just full of potential. Is it pretty? Maybe not. I mean, but it doesn't have to be. It's just kind of a mess right now, and that's exactly what we're looking at. So once I got to a place where I was done playing with the background, I took a step back and looked for inspiration. And while I'd been painting, I had been listening to an album by Queen called Jazz. And when I was considering my next step, one of their lesser-known songs called "It in Only 7 Days" was playing. Something about the feel and lyrics reminded me of a simple digital sketch that I had done. So I used that as inspiration for moving forward. And here's the sketch, and I'll put a link to the description, in the description for that Queen song, so you know what was going through my head. So I just sketched a simple outline over the background using charcoal, And my goal was to let the background shine through and become part of the final composition instead of covering it up completely. And I used a mix of Naples yellow and titanium white to start working the negative space and work the composition. And I'll put paint down and then wipe it back some with I think I had a baby wipe at the when I was doing this one, or a wet paper towel will work as well. And you can see how the background plays an active role here, peeking through and adding texture and depth to the overall piece. And I will continue to wipe some of this back. And at the very end, once I took all the tape off and walked away from it, I came back and dabbed the paper towel in a little bit of alcohol and wiped away a few parts. You can see right under the kind of circle with the blue in it, there is a shape that almost looks like a heart. And so I came back in and pulled some of the paint that I'd covered over that with and pulled that back a little bit. And just here's where I'm using that Caran d'Ache. I'm using red, and then I'm also bringing in a little bit of orange and kind of just spreading that around just a little bit to work with that green color. And one of my favorite things about this process is how the layers evolve. It's about embracing the mess and experimenting with tools and techniques and trusting that the painting will guide you. The the imperfections, the scratches, the textures, they all come together to create something uniquely yours. And in a process like this, and when you're starting out painting, and I shouldn't even say starting out, I think the whole time that you are painting, you kind of have that push and pull with your style, and as you experiment and play with more techniques, you continue to develop that style. So at some point you might look and go, well, this is what my style is like. Well, that's what my style is like right now. But as you kind of grow as an artist and you experiment more and you try new techniques and gain new skills, that style evolves. And I think that's an important lesson to kind of pull away when you're playing like this. What did you learn? What were your takeaways? What didn't work that you don't think you should do again, or at least on a painting like this? So I'm going to start pulling the tape off here, and just a quick tip. I get questioned quite a bit about this, how I get my tape to come off without tearing the paper. And if you use a hairdryer to warm up that tape, it warms up the glue on the underside of the tape, and it comes off much easier. So give that a try next time you're pulling the tape off. So I hope you enjoyed watching this painting come to life, and that inspires you to play with messy layers in your own art. Remember, the process is just as important, if not more important, than the final piece. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe for more videos like this. And please share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and keep on painting.